Augusta. You're watching News 12 live at 5.
The sports world still buzzing about Scottie Scheffler's win, and here at home, life is slowly getting back to normal on this Monday after the Masters. One exception, Augusta Regional Airport. It's absolutely packed today. It's the busiest day of the year at the airport, and if you're flying out, get there early. They advise checking in about 3 hours before your flight. Lots of people flying home after the tournament, and lots of others are coming back home after spring break. Our Hallie Turner shows us how the airport is handling the rush.
Now that tournament week is over, thousands of visitors are headed back home, and the people who left town are coming back, making for one of the busiest days of the year here at Augusta Regional. With more than 35 flights scheduled to leave Augusta Regional today, airport leaders refer to the Monday after tournament week as the mass exodus. Hundreds of suitcases began filling the halls around 4:30 Monday morning as visitors like Carlos Martinangeli were trying to beat the crowds. Carlos says he was told when he arrived to Augusta to be back at the airport 3 hours before his flight, but he says the lines today are proof you need more than just 3 hours.
So you see the queue for TSA, so I'm going to spend couple of days in that queue, so that's why I arrived with enough time.
And coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from airport leaders on their busiest day of the year.
As things start to quiet down around Augusta National, local businesses are starting to add up the cash flow that they've seen over the last week. Businesses along Washington Road report big crowds. Some restaurants tell us this year was the busiest they've ever seen. Even some locals say that they've noticed the crowds coming to town for the Masters seem to be growing. We'll have a closer look at the business impact in our next half hour. And let's talk about another busy airport in Georgia, the world's busiest. Once again, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport can claim that title. Last year, more than 104 million passengers traveled through the airport. Even if you chose to fly out of Augusta, there's a good chance that you'll probably end up in Atlanta because it's the main hub for Delta, which is Augusta's busiest carrier. Dubai's airport ranks as the second busiest in the world, and the third is back here in the U.S. That's Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. To weather now on this sunny afternoon, and we won't get a break from that sun and the heat anytime soon as we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
Yeah, well, looking ahead to a beautiful half, much more in the forecast for you in just a bit.
Thanks, Riley. Richmond County deputies want to track down a man accused of multiple armed robberies. 30-year-old Damon Jackson is accused of robbing 6 stores between March 24th and April 10th. Investigators say he's often seen in the area around Murphy Road and Douglas Street. There's a tattoo of a cross on his forehead. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information on where he is, call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office also investigating a shooting that left an 18-year-old dead. Deputies got a call about a shooting on Hicks Street at around 11 last night. That's where they found 3 male victims who had been shot. One of those, 18-year-old Terrence Pinder, died at the hospital. Deputies call it inactive in ongoing investigation. A woman in Columbia County is charged with animal cruelty, accused in a disturbing case. 25-year-old Ivy Redmond is charged in this case. This all started with a 911 call from a person who said they heard a dog crying and unattended in a car on Bobby Jones Expressway. It was 86 degrees outside and the car was not on. Deputies responded and found an emaciated dog in distress inside a cage in that car. They smashed out one of the car's windows and were able to rescue the dog. That's when they found 3 cats in another cage. 2 were dead and the third was barely moving. Redmond said the animals belonged to her and told deputies that she had been evicted from her apartment and was living in the vehicle with her animals. The cat and the dog that survived are being cared for at the Columbia County Animal Shelter. Developing this afternoon, jury selection is underway in former President Donald Trump's hush money criminal trial in New York City. Jared Hill has the latest from the courthouse.
The judge said he did not recall an exception to the gag order. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Now, the judge has set aside next Tuesday for contempt of court arguments regarding a possible gag order violation. Well, major media organizations band together to urge President Biden and former President Trump to hold debates before the November election. About a dozen news outlets posted an open letter over the weekend. In it, supporters of a debate point out general election debates have been vital to every presidential election in the past 50 years. The push for a debate is in response to uncertainty uncertainty over whether the two candidates will face off in public. President Biden has not ruled out debating former President Donald Trump, and former President Trump has said that he would debate Biden. But in 2022, the Republican National Committee withdrew from the Commission on Presidential Debates. New developments in the investigation of last month's deadly bridge collapse in Baltimore. The FBI has agents on the cargo ship that hit the bridge. They're trying to figure out what happened in the moments before that crash. Attorneys representing families of two of the men who died in the bridge collapse say they're planning on conducting their own independent investigation.
We all know that the more eyes to investigate, the better, especially when you're dealing with corporate giants of an industry. But this was all preventable. That is why we've been brought in to investigate and find out what has happened and give these families a voice. Because the thing that's getting lost right now is the voice of the victims.
Attorneys for the victims' families say that they plan to fight a motion that would limit the amount of damages that could be awarded in the case. It can be hard to find a parking spot at the beach this time of year. Find out why one state's move to level the playing field is a problem for some visitors. Riley?
And temperatures are not only going to be warm this week, potentially getting close to record-setting highs. We'll have a look at that full forecast next.
Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
This is not you.
It's not me.
Seriously hurt. Hurt in a car wreck? Call George Sink Entry Lawyers at all nines. We're here to answer the call.
Well, take a look at this scary scene in South Carolina this morning where a school bus crashed into a mobile home. It happened in Greenville County. School officials say 2 students were on the bus at the time of that crash, but no one was hurt. The mobile home was vacant as well. One neighbor describes what she heard.
Laying in bed, and I heard a noise. I thought it was a plane falling from the sky. And I jumped up out the bed, and my God, what did I see? A bus ran into the trailer.
A shocking thing to wake up to there. The school bus driver was cited for driving too fast for conditions. Well, some state park visitors in South Carolina are not happy about a change meant to make it easier to find parking. For a $5 fee, visitors can make a parking reservation online. The reservation will hold the spot between 6 in the morning and noon. After that, it's first come, first served. You still have to pay for park admission. The $5 fee is supposed to make it easier to find parking places in busy spots like South Carolina's state park beaches. Some park pass holders are not happy about the additional fee. Each state park is setting aside designated spots for reservations. And this Saturday, you can visit national parks for free. Entry fees are being waived in honor of National Parks Week. There are no national parks in Georgia, but close by, you can still visit the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which spans North Carolina and Tennessee. And in South Carolina, there's the Congaree National Park. And Riley, we have some absolutely gorgeous weather this week, so a great time to get out and spend some time outdoors.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, we finally got our lake camera back, and that's going to be a great spot to be over the next couple of days. You can see a beautiful afternoon over Clarksville Lake. Not really just continued that slightly cooler stretch into next week. Highs should be staying in the 60s by next Monday.
All right, thanks, Riley. Coming up next, there's a reason why they're called emergency savings, but lots of people don't have that kind of cash stashed away. Why financial experts say that could be a long-term problem.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Or go to sonobello.com.
Today is the last day eligible Verizon wireless users can sign up for money from a legal settlement. The money is for customers who use Verizon services between January of 2016 and November of last year. They can get up to $100 by signing up online or through the mail. The lawsuit alleges Verizon deceptively charged fees, which the company denies. People who accept the payout lose any right to sue Verizon over the issue in the future. Well, years of inflation and record high interest rates have made it tough for most Americans to save, and a report shows many people have more debt than savings. Christine Lazar reports.
Do you have emergency savings? So I don't, okay, no, I don't. It may be uncomfortable to admit, but Ashley Moore is not alone.
More than a third of Americans have more credit card debt than they do emergency savings, according to a new report by Bankrate.
Which, tied with last year, that's the highest we've seen dating back to 2011.
According to Bankrate, inflation is the most common culprit affecting savings, followed by rising interest rates. Credit card rates are also at a record high, exceeding 22% on average.
The thing about emergency savings is it is your buffer between you and high interest rate debt when unplanned expenses arrive.
Moore's boyfriend, George Heaton, says he does have a solid rainy day fund, thanks to his dad.
My dad always taught me as a kid to save way more than you'd ever need to spend.
But he admits it comes at a price.
Are you frugal? Do you not splurge on things?
No, not at all. I live way below my means, and I think you do too.
And that's a good habit for the couple to have, according to Bankrate's chief financial analyst. Greg McBride says to save and pay down your debt concurrently.
Work on both at the same time. This is not an either-or proposition. Automate the savings so it happens first before you even see the money. Then channel your take-home pay into paying down that credit card debt as quickly as possible.
There was some good news to come out of Bankrate's annual emergency savings report. Nearly 1 in 3 U.S. adults have more in their savings than they did a year ago, the highest percentage since 2020. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Tomorrow, the U.S. Senate is set to hold a hearing on oversight of the U.S. Postal Service. This follows widespread reports of lost or delayed mail all over the country. The hearing is meant to correct issues behind those delays and find out who is ultimately responsible. Tesla is announcing layoffs. As of December, it had more than 140,000 employees. The company is reportedly laying off more than 10% of its global workforce. The memo did not detail how many jobs would be impacted. Tesla recently canceled plans to develop an inexpensive car, which left investors disappointed. Tesla is the world's largest automaker in terms of market value. Well, it's tax day. Up next, we'll have a look at some freebies out there to take some of the pressure off of this stressful deadline. Riley?
Well, the heat is on today, and we also have it sticking around the next couple of days, not too far away from records heading into tomorrow afternoon. Have another look at that 7-day just after the break. Wrdw. First week past it. Looking ahead to the weekend, this is the unfortunate thing. Rain chances not timed out well. Could see some Saturday and Sunday.
Thanks, Riley. Coming up in our next half hour, something that will make you take a look around as you head outdoors over the next few weeks. Snake season has arrived. Stick around as News 12 Live at 5 continues.
Wrdw.com/sketchthesky for more details. Sponsored by Hobbytown Augusta.
Trust Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale for your first alert.
Every time you visit Parker's Kids.
You're watching News 12 Live at 5 continues.
Well, the excitement at the course always spills over. The Masters means big business for Augusta, and local shops and restaurants say this year was busy. It's a calm after the storm. The Monday after tournament week is when a lot of businesses catch their breath and look at how much money they made. From the veterans visiting to the first-timers, most businesses can say that they learned a thing or two. Sydney Hood is live in the newsroom with a closer look. Sydney.
Well, you know how exciting it is to see that extra bonus added to your paycheck? That's exactly how businesses from Washington Road to downtown are feeling right now. For businesses, this is like the 13th month added to the year. And to give you an idea of how much money we are talking about here, last year, Destination Augusta estimated credit card spending to be $44.7 million. That's all money boosting our local economy. And some of the people I talked to today say they are feeling the impacts from this year's tournament big time.
I feel like in the past we were even busier beforehand, but it was definitely a busier week during actual tournament week this year. Instead of just people prepping their homes, it was a lot of the golf patron traffic.
And even after a long week of business last week, some say they are using today to start planning ahead for next year. And that all starts with reflecting on the lessons learned from tournament week. We'll share what some places took away, all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
A great week for our local businesses. Thanks for the update there, Sydney. And Scotty Scheffler just joined an elite group, becoming the 18th golfer to win multiple green jackets. It's the second time in 3 years that he's won at Augusta National. Alyssa Lyons is live in the studio, and what a weekend, Alyssa.
Yeah, this is the Monday of all Mondays, especially for me. I don't know about you, Will, but we're all getting back to reality, except probably for Scotty Scheffler, who's still on cloud nine, as he should be, finishing under 11 under 4 shots, clear of the field. Scheffler becomes the first since Bell Watson to win 2 Masters in a 3-year span. Watson won back in 2012 and 2014. Even more of a coincidence, Ted Scott, who was on the bag for Watson back then, was Scotty's right-hand man in each of his 2 wins. With one call in between whether or not Scotty would finish his final round, he leaned on the caddy in more ways than just one.
Of course I'm not leaving. No. You know, I guess that's a testament to how good of a headspace I was in. I wasn't thinking about that much. I was doing my best to stay in the moment, stay calm, execute shots. Teddy did a great job of making sure that we kept the golf course in front of us. I didn't get off to the best start, but had some key up and downs, and Teddy once again did a great job of keeping me in it.
And in the last 4 tournaments that the two have played together, Scheffler has won now 3 of his last 4. The odd one out there was in second place at the Texas Children's Houston Open.
And what a moment between the two as Scotty waited for his caddy to come up and take that victory walk. Just a great Sunday at the Masters here in Augusta. After the Masters, the next stop is the South Carolina coast. Savannah Hilton Head Airport is all decked out for the RBC Heritage Tournament. They partnered with the tournament through a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation focused on small community air service development. RBC Heritage starts today at Harbortown on Hilton Head Island. The purse is $20 million. The winner gets $3.6 million of that. And it should be a great tournament out there on the coast as we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
Yeah, well, we're hoping that nice weather does continue into the weekend. That's really our next opportunity for rainfall around Diamond, so smooth sailing right there. Have an update on some rain heading our way late this week in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. Last month, Augusta commissioners approved $140,000 in tax money to expand the Marshal's Office litter program. As Craig Allison shows us, they still need everyone to help out.
A little more than a week ago, I tagged along with the Richmond County Marshal's Office here on Old McDuffie Road to see how the expansion of their litter program was going. But as you can see by what's around me, there's still some litter here on the side of the road. It starts with people on probation signing in, picking up a bag, and getting right to work. Since January of 2023, the Marshal's Office has been working to transform picking up litter as a way to sign off court-mandated community service hours. With last month's expansion, this twice-a-month cleanup aims to pick up the pace to cleanings at least once a week, potentially more. Some other spots hit this year include Wheelus Road, Barton Chapel Road, and Bennick Mill Road. But despite the effort of picking up food, trash, even tires, the Marshal's Office says these spots get hit again fairly fast after cleanup. I caught up with Ramon Apolinario, the Marshal's Office corporal specifically assigned to this program, on trying to keep up with the trash.
Unfortunately, that is the truth in today's world. We will clean up, and by the time we hit 5, 6 different locations and come back to the original location, it's already re-littered, if not within that same week.
All new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I'll take you through more of my day with the Marshal's Office and how they're asking for the rest of the county's help in trying to keep these spots clean. In Augusta, Craig Allison, on your side.
Thanks, Craig. Like many cities across the country, Spartanburg is looking for ways to address the growing issue of homelessness. The city's Heart Team is a resource group working to find solutions. The group says many homeless people have moved downtown from the outskirts of Spartanburg. They say it's likely because of the amount of public space and generosity from businesses, but it's causing some complaints. Police are trying to balance protecting property rights without pushing people out when they have nowhere to go.
What do we do? Where do we tell these people to go next? And we can't answer all of the questions, but I can say that we are all on the same page as it relates to this strategy.
Spartanburg's Heart Team says that the city needs to continue investing in programs like rapid rehousing. Richmond County Schools are hiring for next school year. There's a job fair happening tomorrow. The school system is recruiting for open positions and for the 24-25 school year. It's happening tomorrow from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. It's at the Richmond County School System's Transportation Department on Mike Paget Highway in Augusta. A hiring event in the Charlotte area is aimed at attracting more women into law enforcement. Charlotte-Mecklenburg officers teamed up with the FBI to hold their annual Women in Law Enforcement event. Their department took a pledge to have more women in their ranks by 2030.
Sometimes women can de-escalate situations a lot better than men can. You know, sometimes a rape victim might want to talk to a woman versus a man. So there's a lot of roles that women play in law enforcement in our profession that really helps the community.
With hundreds of positions open between the two agencies, officials say that they are close to meeting their goal. Well, it's perfect weather to get outdoors, but snakes like it too. What you need to know about this snake season, Riley.
Yeah, the snakes are going to like the weather this week. We got hot temps and potentially getting close to record highs by Thursday. Have a look at that full forecast next.
Time and temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
And everything else you're entitled to.
Call John Foy and Associates now.
Well, taking photos is pretty easy, but it may seem overwhelming to organize and share them. Jamie Tucker shows us how a brand new app can help.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
Parents take a lot of photos of kids. We have trouble organizing them. We have trouble sharing them. Well, a mom in Miami faced that challenge. She couldn't find an app, so she created her own.
I'm very good at taking pictures, but there's a lot of pictures I did not capture, and it's too late.
Natalia Daniel and her husband, Odette Pellet, created Firsties for parents like themselves. It's more than just a photo-taking app.
Together with a group of the moms, right, we gathered all the feedback, and we're like, this would be a dream app. 1, the inspiration. 2, the organization. 3, the sharing.
Here's how Firsties works. Any photos of the kids you take are saved on a timeline. Want to see photos from when they were 2? That's a simple tap on the screen. It also prompts the users with ideas throughout the day. First trip in a car, first time to see the ocean, so on. Reminders to take photos is so important for parents.
But you also have photos, you have journals, so you can write journals. Like, for example, if your child said something funny, I used to use my notes. So now you can write it down, or you can record their voices.
Posting photos of young children on social media has become scary in recent years, and with the rise in AI, it's only going to get more concerning. Sharing photos from the Firsties app is by invitation only and doesn't get posted anywhere publicly.
An app that we believe that parents around the world are going to really appreciate and enjoy, and it will become the place to capture all those precious moments and privately share them with their family and friends.
Firsties was released just 2 months ago. It's free with no ads, but if you need more storage for photos and videos, or if you want to add more than one child, there is a premium subscription. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Firsties is the app of the day.
The Firsties app also has a place for pet owners to capture and save those memories. It's available for both iPhone and Android devices. Well, snake season is here, and as the weather warms up and stays warm, more of them will be crawling out to enjoy the weather. So be careful when you're outside enjoying that nice weather too. Remember, most snake bites happen when they feel cornered, when they're defending themselves, or when they've been captured. Here in Georgia, it's actually illegal to kill a non-venomous snake. Remember, they are a big help when it comes to pest control. There are only 7 known venomous snakes native here to Georgia. Copperheads are among the most common around here and tend to thrive in suburban areas. If you find a snake and feel it is posing a threat, call a wildlife specialist. And Riley, we're expecting some very warm temperatures this week, so be extra careful if you're going to head outside and enjoy the wildlife and the nature out there for sure, if you're going to go take a hike or head up to the lake as well.
Absolutely. Well, and another thing to mention is that when we get these spring-like days when it warms up during the day and then it cools off at night, a lot of times our snake friends will slither on the roadways and just try to stay warm overnight. So try to look out for them on the roadways. I know a lot of us don't necessarily like snakes a ton, but they do serve a role in our ecosystem, and always try to protect them if you can. One to show next week by Monday.
All right, thanks, Riley. A star witness is on the stand in the trial of rapper Young Thug. We have the developments in the courtroom coming up next.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
What's on your...
It's something we're seeing nationwide and right here in our area, vacancies in law enforcement. Here at home, we reported on how the Richmond County Sheriff's Office is seeing it, and agencies in Columbus, Georgia are also dealing with it too. In July of last year, Columbus police had 150 jobs available for police officers. Since then, the department started aggressively recruiting by going on college visits, attending various recruitment programs, and using online job resources to find officers. And by the end of the year, they may hire even more police officers.
We were almost 150 officers short. However, today, we really only is about have 4 vacancies before we have reached the number that we're authorized to have. I believe that by the end of this year, we will be at 100 strength at that time. And if the need becomes that we need more, then I would think that we will pursue the possibility of bringing on more police officers.
The total number of officers the department can have at this time is 371. Right now, prosecutors in Atlanta are going crime by crime, trying to prove that Young Thug is the leader of the alleged YSL gang. Testimony in the YSL trial involving Jeffrey Williams resumed today, and one of the prosecution's star witnesses returned to the stand. This is the second week of that testimony. Young Thug is on trial in a massive RICO case. Prosecutors say Williams and his co-defendants are members of the YSL gang, while defense attorneys argue YSL is simply the name of a record label. Prosecutors have about 150 witnesses they still plan to call. Atlanta police are also reassuring people that they are ready to take
the next couple of days. Not much rain in our forecast until we get to the weekend. We'll have another look at that 7-day just after the break.
Plus, he's called the Dog Father. How this golden retriever got his name, coming up after a short break.
People don't really realize how right now.
A 9-year-old golden retriever has earned the nickname the Dog Father. That's because Trigger has fathered 323 puppies, all in the name of charity. The Dog Father produced a total of 39 litters, most for the UK-based Guide Dogs. That's a group that trains dogs to help people with vision impairment. Trigger's biggest litter came in 2021 when 16 puppies were born. The last litter, about 2 months ago, had 6.
He did have a break at one point because obviously he just needed a break, really. He used to go to the centre and he'd be all excited. But obviously if it was just for an eye checkup or something, you know, you'd come back an hour later and he was a bit disappointed.
And Trigger's offspring are called Triglets by the charity there. So good work by Trigger there to put out a lot of puppies. We'll talk about Cute. The Cincinnati Zoo has announced the birth of a bat-eared fox. Well, they shared this footage of the kit being treated by animal care staff. The Cincinnati Zoo's animal ambassador team says the little kit is doing well with bottle feeding, sleeps a lot, and even makes very cute noises there. An interesting looking animal here. I've never seen anything like that, Riley. And Cincinnati Zoo said that it is taking suggestions from the public on what to name the fox there. And if you look up at the sky this week, you might notice some shooting stars. The oldest known meteor shower, called the Lyrids, is peaking. The best view from the northern hemisphere is after the moon set and before dawn. NASA recommends finding a dark area and then laying flat on your back with your feet facing east. About 10 to 20 meteors can be seen per hour during the peak, which will be Saturday, but as many as 100 per hour have been recorded. Riley, I know we have some weather, some clouds moving in on Saturday. Is that going to be visible for us is the biggest question here.
Yeah, always got to get to a dark spot. We do have great spots to view these meteor showers here around the CSRA, but unfortunately our forecast doesn't look great this weekend. For the peak of that, we are anticipating our next system to show up Saturday into Sunday, and that will provide a pretty good amount of cloud cover for us, but hopefully we get a few breaks. Here's a live look over SRP Park, where it's quiet now, but by this time tomorrow going to be much more active. They are playing the Carolina Mudcats starting at 7:05 tomorrow. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s for the start of the game, kind of like what it feels like right now, currently at 85 here in Augusta, and one of the warmest days we have seen so far for the year. Take a look at this. We could actually get up to 90 later this week by Thursday, and if we do get up to 90, that's only a degree away from tying a record high temperature this time of year. So not only warm, but potentially getting close to record-setting highs. As we get closer to the weekend, though, you can see that's when the rain chances do come back. So just a heads up, weekend plans could be impacted by wet weather.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break on News 12 at 6 o'clock.